But I do feel like I should probably keep this show going, so I gotta think about what I'm gonna talk about next. You've gotta be kidding me. I can't believe I'm doing this. I hated Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon so much back in the day, and now it's 10 years old? Well, I'm doing this for you guys. But I guess before I go into playing it and say what I think of the game now, I should go into how I thought of it back then and talk about the build-up to its launch. Let's go. Back in 2011, a sequel to the classic GameCube title, Luigi's Mansion, was announced for the Nintendo 3DS. As someone who had loved the first game for years by this point, I was so excited to hear that this game was finally getting a sequel. I remember watching that initial trailer so many times just to see all the little details and anxiously waiting every trailer going forward. Heck, it was even when I discovered the GameXplain channel for the first time, and I would watch every single video they did on the game to get all the details I could. My anticipation was through the roof, and my expectations of this game were very high. In fact, actually, I remember making videos about this game before it came out, and I remember that I was so excited.
The new ghosts look... The only complaint is they look kind of cartoonish.
Ugh. I hate watching videos of myself. Anyways, this game also went through a few delays, as it was initially supposed to launch back in 2012. I remember hearing the news about this game being delayed and being so upset. It was actually right before a big band performance I had to do. I was actually legitimately upset about this game's delay. The anticipation and the pain was getting to me at this point, and this made my expectations for this game even higher. When this game finally did come out on March 20th, 2013, my excitement was unreal. I wish I could look back on that day and how excited I was. Actually, hold on. I can. I had lost my 3DS mere weeks before this game came out, so my parents got me a Pikachu 3DS XL that had released on the same day, as well as my game, which I had already had pre-ordered. After I got it, I went home, and since I was on some sort of week-long vacation break from school, I got to play this game non-stop. 14-year-old Zach was such a happy camper. That is, until of course I started to play it and realized that this sequel was completely different than the Luigi's Mansion I knew and loved. Okay, I know I sound a bit dramatic, but there were so many things about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon when I first played it that I just wasn't expecting, and not in a good way, especially since I had waited so many years for this game to come out. Let me talk about some things that back then I really did not like about this game. Firstly, and one of the most common complaints about this game, are the lack of portrait ghosts. In the original Luigi's Mansion, there were human ghosts in the mansion that made the house feel truly lived in and real, each one offering a different way to be captured to break up the monotony of just capturing up all the common ghosts. Dark Moon had none of the sort. The closest thing I can compare to them are the Three Sisters and maybe the Poltergeist, but they don't even come close to the charm that the portrait ghosts had in the original game. Secondly, and another common complaint, was the structure of the game. The first game, while still linear, was very open. Once you unlock a room or a place, you are free to explore it to your heart's content. In Dark Moon, if the game doesn't want you to go a particular way, you cannot go that way, even if it's a place that you've already unlocked. The game conveniently puts objects in front of doors that lead in directions that the game doesn't want you to go in. It restricts you to a linear path, which is a pretty big problem, especially when it comes to the collectible gems in the game. You can't just boot up a mission and go gem hunting. You have to hop between multiple missions to get all the gems, since places will be blocked in some missions and not in others. And that isn't even going into how often EGAD calls you to pull you away from missions just as you're making progress. It just slows the game down to a halt sometimes. My third problem was the tonal shift between the first game and the second game. The first game's mansion felt real, with dust particles flying around, backstories for its inhabitants, and an eerie sense of dread as you're creeping around these dark hallways looking for your brother. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon goes for a more child-friendly approach with more upbeat music, more cartoony visuals, and most notably, more goofy ghosts. I remember the silly, childlike nature of these ghosts really bothered me back then, as it just turned Luigi's cowardice into a joke as opposed to something that he overcame trying to save his brother. Not to mention, the ghosts were just super annoying in general. Lastly, but surely not least, I really did not care for any of the boss battles. The spider one in Gloomy Manor was okay, but the staircase sucked, the ice boss and the giant knight frustrated me back then, and the rest were just kind of mid. All of these things came together and made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon an experience that I did not care for back in 2013. But that was 10 years ago now. Maybe I'll like this game now. Maybe I just needed time and another game to make me truly appreciate what Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon did. And I really hope that's the case, especially for those stupid ghosts. Huh? What do you... No! We're not even talking about the Luigi's Mansion beta today. That isn't until July. Yeah, well, let's get into the game and see what I think of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon 10 years later. God, I feel old. This game starts up with, honestly, probably the best opening in the whole entire franchise. Egad and his lab full of obedient ghosts are working on something when a mysterious figure, no one knows who it is, comes and destroys the Dark Moon in the sky. This results in paranormal chaos ensuing, and all of the ghosts that were once friendly turn on Professor Egad. Egad then basically kidnaps Luigi from his house, which, fun fact, is the D-rank house from the original Luigi's Mansion game, nice touch, then sends him off to collect the missing broken pieces of the Dark Moon. Honestly, the story for this game is probably the most involved of the whole entire series. I mean, there's more than just Mario being missing. All of the ghosts in Evershade Valley have turned evil, and we need to do something beyond just saving Mario. It's quite nice, actually. So we walk up to the mansion and... oh god, really? Already? We haven't even gotten into the mansion yet! Okay, anyways, talk to Egad, let's get the key. We're gonna go into the mansion, grab the poltergeist, and... oh, again? Alright, anyways, let's grab her first room key, and for real, again! He calls time after time after time in this first mission, and it gets really old. Anyways, now we grab the strobe bulb so that we can finally start catching some ghosts. Oh yeah, this feels good. Let's keep... ugh, I seriously hate this mission structure. It feels like just when you're getting to a point where the fun is about to begin, Egad just pulls you back to the bunker and it just comes to a screeching halt. Whatever, let's just continue, keep doing the missions, and complete this first mansion. After getting some gears that some aggressive red slammer ghost stole, then defeating some pesky poltergeists in the library, we finally get the second important function of the Poltergust 5000, the Dark Light. This light reveals objects that are invisible, as well as boos that are hiding in each area. This is probably one of my favorite additions from this game, as it gives you more reason to explore each area and you can find some cool secrets with it. So, after being sucked back to the lab for doing the strenuous task of catching a singular boo, we go back to the mansion to... suck up spider webs? I'm sorry. What? Yeah, we gotta go and suck up 42 spider webs because... reasons? Spiders are taking over the mansion apparently, and to proceed to the boss of this mansion, we need to take out these spider webs. This is basically a padding mission that, in my opinion, brings the game to a screeching halt. Why do we have to do this? Who thought this was fun? Yes, sucking up the spider webs as you walk around the mansion could be mildly entertaining, even in the original game, but to center a whole mission around it is completely absurd. Whatever. So we suck up the webs, complete that mission, face up against the pretty simple yet kind of fun spider boss, and now we are done with the first mansion. Whew. Thank goodness. Now, Gloomy Manor isn't a bad mansion. It's actually a pretty decent tutorial level, but the problem is that it definitely drags itself out a little bit with those stupid padding missions. But anyways, let's continue on to the second mansion, being Haunted Towers. This mansion starts off simple enough. Turn on the water so that you can raise a small bridge to get to a pinwheel door. This mission is actually kind of cool as you get to explore a lot of the mansion in this mission and is definitely one of the highlights of this mansion for me. For the second mission, you go to open that pinwheel door that you finally got access to, but oh no, the hider ghosts steal the blades of the pinwheel. Wait, doesn't that situation sound a little bit familiar? Yeah, the Red Slammer ghost literally just did that exact same thing in the last mansion except with gears as opposed to pinwheel blades. Sheesh. I never realized just how much padding this game has. You spend whole entire missions doing tasks like these. Heck, after finding the pinwheel blades, you open the door and proceed only to realize that you can't go forward without a special key. Then the next 2 missions are devoted to finding this special key. So by the end of the 4th mission, after fighting some ghosts and defeating the admittedly pretty fun Three Sisters mini boss fight in the graveyard, you finally get the key we need to proceed. Or never mind. Apparently, Luigi doesn't know how to hold on to a key so that it doesn't immediately get stolen from him. Ugh, I'm telling you, Next Level Games really turned Luigi into a cowardly, bumbling idiot here. It's such a shame because in the first game, Luigi overcame his fears and became a hero just for this game to kind of take a spooky dookie on it. Anyways, we fight these new ghosts, the Sneakers, and they are easily my favorite ghosts in this whole entire game. They're pretty fun to face up against and offer a decent challenge when there's multiple of these ghosts in a room. So, once we capture them, we finally get the key again. This time, Luigi, we are going to hold on to it really... Oh, you stupid son of a... on it. Okay, so now we gotta devote another mission to get this key. This time from Polterpup, a dog who hops room to room, and literally any time Luigi sees him, his obviously very threatening and spooky demeanor scares Luigi to the floor. Literally every single time. It gets old so fast. At least with Polterkitty in Luigi's Mansion 3, most rooms you find her in, you actually get to attack her. Here, you just watch this dog waltz away. It's just another example of padding to extend this game's playtime. Like seriously, who thought that this would be fun? Like yes, Polterpup is a cute dog and you can't stay mad at him, but seriously, come on. Well, at least we've caught him now and we're bringing him back to the lab and... Are you kidding me? We literally put the other ghosts we captured in this mission into the unit. Why didn't Polterpup go in with all of them? Well, guess we'll be seeing him again in the future. Let's move forward. Now we make our way towards the boss, but first we have to make our way up these stairs. They look simple enough, but you have to go up the right sets of stairs or else you'll be sent back to the bottom and have to fight a ghost before you're allowed to try again. I actually really like this section. The silly kind of music really fits this stupid situation well, and the ghost catching music is really cool here. That actually brings me to another point. This game's music is really freaking good. I didn't appreciate it much at the time because it wasn't as subtle and spooky as the original Luigi's Mansion's music, but this game's soundtrack is really freaking good. Alright, enough gushing about the music, let's finish up this boss. And the epic boss to finish off this second mansion is... a staircase? Ah! What the hell is this? Did Next Level Games just give up? This is easily one of the stupidest boss fights ever. Ridiculously easy, not fun, and just plain stupid. You got rid of the creative portrait ghost with unique designs and fun boss fights, and now we get to fight sentient stairs? I know the whole thing is that they're possessed, but god, could they really not think of any other cool ideas? Spider makes sense, but stairs? Whatever. We defeat the stairs, get the Dark Moon piece, and go back to the lab as we are about to head to the third mansion, Old Clockworks. Overall, this mansion wasn't the worst. I mean, I really liked the theme for this mansion, especially that doll room. That room was cool. That was creepy, but all of the fetch quests, the really crappy boss fight at the end just really dragged this mansion down for me. But now, we will move on to Old Clockworks. Okay, I really like this mansion. Just look at it. It's got a really cool, clocky, deserty kind of design. It really feels abandoned. I remember really liking this mansion back when I first played it. The only thing with this mansion is that every mission is just a fetch quest, and you spend 3 missions trying to get these arms for a clock door, and it really feels like no progress is being made as your objective is the same for each of these missions. The saving grace for this mansion is that, unlike the first 2 that required you to explore the same rooms over and over again for these missions, all of these fetch quest missions required you to explore new areas of the mansion, so it really didn't feel like much of a grind. Well, until Polterpup came back and took the second clock hand and wanders around the mansion. Man, these sections really do suck. You can't do anything to Polterpup and just have to watch him wander the mansion with his clock arm. It's so annoying. Oh, and we find another poltergeist along the way. This one is actually really cool. I actually really enjoyed this encounter, but oh my god, I realized how annoying this ghost sounds. I mean, listen to him. Oh god, I hate it. But the fight was cool at least. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Toad earlier. Yeah, you rescue Toads in this game, and oh my god, they're annoying. All of the Toads have a specific fear that kind of limit how you can bring them around the mansion, and the Toad in this mansion fears clocks. What? Why is that even a thing? I mean, I get that that's the joke, the Toad in the clock mansion that's afraid of clocks, but it's so stupid and annoying. The Toads always just kind of get in the way, and they're just kind of annoying to keep around. But anyways, once you collect all the items you need to collect and rescue the Toad, then you proceed to the boss of this mansion, which is a clock enemy gauntlet. Okay, I know this one sounds lame, and it is to some extent, but it is actually a pretty decent boss fight. I usually don't care for enemy gauntlets, but given the clock theme that this boss has, it actually kind of makes sense. It's well paced, and it's fairly difficult at points. After you capture this Possessor Ghost, we have now completed Mansion 305. Honestly, this mansion was pretty fun. Yeah, the Polterpup mission sucked, but every other mission in this mansion was a pretty big banger. Even if they did kind of drag out how long it would take for you to get each of the clock arms, it was actually a really good mansion. Oh, and I nearly forgot to mention, they introduced a new enemy in this mansion, and it's the Mummies. I remember absolutely hating them back when I first played this game. I thought they were so annoying to fight. Upon replaying this game, I actually kind of liked them. They were an interesting enemy to defeat and were well themed to the mansion. So now, we're on to the Secret Mine. Back when I first played this game, I remember this was the mansion that really made me turn on this game. And since I've been enjoying the game thus far, this could be the make or break point for me enjoying my playthrough, you know, now 10 years later. So, let's give it a shot. The Secret Mine is basically a snowy cabin with a bunch of underground rooms. This is probably my least favorite mansion in terms of design and aesthetic. Anyways, getting into the missions, in the first mission we gotta save a Toad, as per usual, but this mission isn't honestly that bad. In fact, I would say it's a pretty solid mission. So now we're gonna bring Toad back to the bunker and oh! Jesus Christ, what is that thing? It's hideous, and it does nothing besides roll around and follow you like a lost puppy. They just kind of get in the way a lot of the time, and you can accidentally suck them up while trying to deal with ghosts. Anyways, with Toad back with Egad, that marks the end of the first mission. The next mission, the Toad brings back a photo showing off what the Boos are doing, and they are trapping ghosts in these crystals and doing something that we need to figure out and stop. Oh, and since I'm here, I might as well mention the fact that this game has been teasing to us that Mario has been kidnapped again, and that King Boo's behind it, but for some reason, Luigi cannot get that and has absolutely no clue. Mario and Luigi literally wear the same shoes. How does Luigi not recognize him? Another prime example of Next Level Games just making Luigi an idiot. Moving on, we go back into the mansion, explore a bit more of the lower levels of this mansion, and then we find the room where the ghosts are being held. Once we get there, we immediately realize that the crystals are making the ghosts stronger. We gotta take out these strong ghosts and then we are done. Ooh, oh my. These ghosts have a lot of health. Come on. Come on. Yes! Woo! This mission is pretty good. We're 2 for 2 so far. I'm enjoying the mansion. Let's continue on to the third one, see what that has to offer. The third mission for this mansion is actually the last one before the boss. This mansion was shorter than the others, and it's a shame because gameplay-wise, it's my favorite one so far. There haven't been any stupid backtracking, fetch questy. Oh, nope. Here we go. We get to trudge back through the rooms we've already completed just to do another padding mission to pad out the game's length. Honestly though, I don't mind this one. Since the powerful ghosts were still kind of new, it served as a good way to introduce them more. Have you fight them one-on-one to get used to how strong they were. Plus, I'm just a sucker for the ghost combat, which this mission seemed to have a decent amount of. Anyways, after defeating the powerful ghosts, we have to make our way to a generator room to turn on the power so that we can use a pixelator camera to get to the workshop from the lab, which is where the 5th Dark Moon piece is. Alright, so we work our way over there, we turn on the power, so there's the workshop, now it's time to... Oh, come on, we're right there! Why do you have to pull us back now? Well, at least the first 3 missions have actually all been really good so far. Lots of interesting ghost combat, interesting puzzles, and they're just pretty fun missions all around. I don't remember why I didn't like this mansion. Oh yeah. When I first played Dark Moon, I remember staying up late into the night playing this game, and this boss frustrated me so badly when I was a kid that I had to put my 3DS down. This boss battle used a mechanic that you used for 2 seconds in the last mission and turned into a whole boss battle. Not only that, but you had to use the stinky motion controls as well. You know, all these years later, I never thought that I would come back and return to this, so... this should be interesting. Let's see how it goes. Ugh. Ugh. Ah! While I definitely had an easier time with this boss battle than I did when I was 14, I still struggled with it. The aiming just sucks. And I get it, I might just not be good at it, but why is this boss fight in a Luigi's Mansion game? As much as I don't care for a lot of the bosses in this game, at least all of them require to use the Poltergust in one way or another. For this boss, it just turns into a first-person shootery kind of segment with crappy gyro controls. Nonetheless, we beat the boss, get the 5th Dark Moon piece, and make our way towards the Treacherous Mansion. This is it. The final mansion. I remember this mansion kind of taking everything from the mansions before and just making a pretty solid mansion out of it. So let's get in and start this off with a bang. Oh no. Oh no. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Luigi, you stupid, bumbling son of a... Wait. Lots of ghost combat, some creepy and eerie hallways, an illusion maze, and no stupid cutscenes where we have to watch Polterpup waltz away, and then we just catch him and get the key, and now he's in the vault for good? Was this a good Polterpup mission? Like, yeah, Luigi stupidly lost that key, but is it possible to have a good Polterpup mission? Apparently it is, and same with the Toad mission. The Toads kept getting caught on every little edge we walked by, so that was quite annoying, but this mission was quite fun as well. Again, a decent amount of ghost combat, some interesting little puzzles to solve, and a lot of freedom in exploring this bigger mansion. Unlike the previous mansions, you can kind of explore the mansion whichever way you want, and you're not really limited on where you can go. So this mansion definitely feels more freeing than the last 4. Anyways, we rescue the 2 Toads, bring them back to the bunker, and move on to the next mission. Now we gotta access this train room, which we can see King Boo in through another one of the pictures that the Toads brought back. Well, we go into the mansion, we go to the train room, and of course, a ghost steals the very thing we need to progress. I swear, if I had a nickel for every time this kind of situation happened, I would be able to buy another copy of this game. Anywho, we go and fight the Poltergeist in another pretty cool mini boss fight with him. Here, he is shooting stars at us. Get it? Shooting stars? So we capture him, put the book back into its slot, go into the train exhibit, see Mario in this train diorama, and of course we are pulled back to the bunker. I'll go into this more in a bit, but this seriously gets old. Right as you're about to have something happen, you get pulled out of the action. It would make more sense if this was an episodic game like Life is Strange to be left on a cliffhanger like that. But no, you're literally going to play the next mission in 30 seconds. Why are these cliffhangers here? They are so stupid and pointless. Alright, so now we can go into the train exhibit and save Mario from the evil clutches of King Boo. I mean, after all, the boss symbol is on this mission, so this is it. Oh no! We've been ambushed by Big Boo instead of Boolossus for some reason. I remember this fight being a pain in the butt when I first played it, but it was actually okay this time around. Aiming felt a bit funky sometimes, but it wasn't too bad. It was a decent boss battle. Once we caught all the Boos, we go back to the lab and get ready for the big fight with King Boo. Alright, I am so ready. We are so close to done with this game, and King Boo is just on the terrace. We can go there, suck him up, and we're done. Well, we get to the terrace, and King Boo opens this huge paranormal portal that releases all of these ghosts, and now we have to backtrack through the house to get all of the ghosts that he has released. Now this is where you'd think I'd complain about progress being halted and all that, but this part is awesome! Yes, it halts the progress of stopping King Boo, but it is the perfect build-up to his fight. The stakes feel ridiculously high, with our whole dimension being at risk of collapsing. The amount of ghost combat and the difficulty of it, it was just perfect. Now this is what I want out of a Luigi's Mansion game. This penultimate mission is just awesome. Let's catch these ghosts. Come on. Get in there, get in there. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, I got you now, I got you now. Whew. Right, if my memory serves me correctly, then there's only 2 more bosses I need to defeat after this. The Night Boss and King Boo. So let's knock them both right out. The Night Boss, I honestly remember being a huge pain in my butt when I was younger. I just could never figure out the timing of tripping up the Knights. This time though, I had absolutely no trouble at all with this boss. I was easily able to trip the Knights in each phase of the battle. That's not to say this boss battle was too easy though. It's all about getting all the Knights to where they need to be at the exact same time, which can be a little bit tricky. It actually was a pretty interesting concept for a boss fight. I definitely liked it a lot more this time than I did when I first played the game. Well, I guess now that's done, we gotta go back to the lab one more time before the final... wait. Ooh, I really like that touch, where King Boo just snatches Luigi right out of the pixelator. And look! The horror on Egad's face when he realizes just adds a bit of severity and seriousness to the matter. It feels like they realized the whole entire game was just too goofy and lighthearted and finally made it intense and serious in this last mansion. I really enjoy it. So now, we fight King Boo. It's time to take him down once and for all. Well, at least until Luigi's Mansion 3. Anyways, this King Boo fight is pretty good. Definitely not the hardest boss fight in the world, but not too bad. I definitely think it's a good way to end off this game. We capture him, save Mario, all of the ghosts turn good again, Luigi adopts Polterpup, aww, and the world is saved thanks to Luigi. Well, that's it. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is beaten, and I definitely have some thoughts on this game. I definitely like this game way more than I did before, and even think it does do quite a few things better than Luigi's Mansion 3 did. The combat is better, the music is way better, the ghosts are just way more varied, and it definitely has its strengths. But I still do stand by a lot of things I've said before. The mission structure just breaks any pacing that this game may have, as you're either constantly stopped from making progress by ghost stealing objects, or Egad calling you and taking you back to the bunker right when you are about to start making progress. The ghosts are also still way too silly. I found my experience better by just skipping most of the cutscenes, as that's when the ghosts would just act the silliest. But I shouldn't have to do that. The ghosts should actually be spooky and give Luigi an actual reason to be scared. Because as I've mentioned, Next Level Games really made Luigi a bumbling idiot here, a trait they also carried into Luigi's Mansion 3. If they were to ever remake this game, I would want them to completely remake it. Get rid of the mission structure and any stupid padding missions like the spiderweb one, for example. tone the ghost goofiness down a bit, and have way less fetch questy missions to have you complete. But at that point, is the game even Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon if you're gonna change that much? Well, that's a debate for a whole other day. Overall, like I said, I did enjoy this game much more than I did back then, and I wouldn't even be opposed to playing it again someday. But the only thing I guess that there's left to talk about is the Scare Scraper mode, but I don't really have any friends here that I can play it with, and I really should learn how to keep my mouth shut.
Well, howdy there, neighbor. I couldn't help but overhear that you needed someone to play the Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Scare Scraper with.
How did you overhear that? And how are you my neighbor? There's literally no one around me.
Well, you see, I live in the house next door to yours, about 3 miles down that way, and I'm waiting for the inevitable zombie apocalypse to happen, and I just so happen to overhear that you need someone to play Scare Scraper with. So, are you in, or are you not? I even brought my 2DS XL.
Alright, come in. You know how to play Scare Scraper, right?
Of course! My brother, my sister, and I used to play this game all the time. We are really, really good at it.
Well, at least that means I don't have to carry you. Alright, let's play. Scare Scraper is the multiplayer offering that Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon has to offer. This is one of the best things that this game has going for it, to be honest. The Scare Scraper is a co-op, ghost hunting tower that you climb by completing each floor's objectives with the hopes that you and your team can make it to the top floor and face the final boss. There are 3 main modes that you can do in this game. There's Hunter mode, Rush mode, and Polterpup mode. And then there's also another mode where you can get a mixture of all 3 modes in one go. Hunter mode is self-explanatory. You clear all the rooms that have ghosts in them to complete the floor. Rush mode is a mode where your only objective is to find the exit of the floor. Don't worry about catching ghosts or anything like that, just find the exit. The only catch is that you have 30 seconds to do so, but you can find timers to extend that time limit by actively searching the floor, by looking at stuff, using the dark light, and catching ghosts. Lastly, there is a Polterpup mode. In this mode, you use your dark light to look around for all the Polterpups on the floor. Once you catch all the Polterpups, you progress to the next floor.
No, aren't no Polterpups the cutest little things you ever seen? I wish I could take one of those back to my farm.
You have a farm?
Of course! We got chickens, we got cows, we got pigs. A ghost dog can't be too hard.
Anyways, after every 5 floors, you come across a boss that is basically a reskin of an already existing common ghost with some enhancements to make their boss fight harder. And then on the final floor, you face the Brain, which is basically just a big poltergeist ghost. While there's nothing overly unique about any of the ghosts in Scare Scraper besides their designs, they're fun to collect for your vault and just add some visual flair to the ghosts you already know. This mode is a nice little treat for anyone who wants to experience Luigi's Mansion with a friend or 3. And that is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. It had its ups and its downs, but it's definitely got its place in the Luigi's Mansion series. I used to rip on this game a lot back in the day, and like I said, I still don't love this game. It's still not amazing to me, but I definitely do see why people love it, and I see why it's some people's favorites. I mean, it even does some things better than Luigi's Mansion 3, and that game is really well loved by fans. But this game just does not have the charm that the first game had for me, so I do think the first one is still just going to be my favorite, and it always will be.
Wow, now that is the biggest little donkey crud I think I ever heard my whole entire life.
What are you talking about?
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is a masterpiece, and you'd have to be absolutely stupid not to see that. I mean, there are so many worse games out there. Ooh, like those SpongeBob games? Oh, those are the worst.
Okay, I didn't say it was the worst. Wait a minute. SpongeBob games?
Yeah, like they were the absolute worst games on the face of the earth. I mean, that one with all the robots and the big robot battles you fought. Oh, that one was the absolute worst.
Oh, no way.
Oh, come off it now. You can't tell me that you actually like that game.
Oh, I do. And when I'm through with you, you're going to as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, definitely drop a like and subscribe, all that stuff down below. And if you want to see all that stuff behind the scenes and watch me struggle to get these teeth to frickin' fit in my mouth, then definitely become a Zack Pack member, as you will get access to the behind the scenes footage and bloopers of basically every single episode I release from this point onward. Stay tuned for episode 3, which will be coming out in a few weeks. Stay tuned for a confirmed release date, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time, until the next one, you guys, I'll see you all later.